watching Morning at NTV.
And the conversation is on the trends and, of course, improvements over the years in the film industry and the greater entertainment bulk. We were talking about something that was very pertinent. I would like to go to our guest, Rebecca Mukite, the spokesperson for Uganda Communications Commission. Andrew Kagwa was very passionate about some of the things that are holding back ability of local films to be well flooded onto the audiences. And I like the fact that he alluded to the fact that if President Yoweri Museveni is to speak, all television stations, radio stations, I do not know whether UCC could work on a program that ensures that a particular film, especially if it is educational, is aired on a day like yesterday, World AIDS Day, by all means, by all television stations, and if there is an audio version, also played on radio.
Okay. So, Mr. Kagwa brought up quite a number of interesting things. Yes, the Commission has the regulatory mandate to make certain tweaks and pushes. But when it comes to the creative industry, you don't want to start from that point. We did that for local content quotas, and yes, it has given us a good push. And there's been a big production of quantity of local content, and also the quality of local content is now coming up. The issue of audience building, though, is a bit different, because even when you instruct the cinemas to screen Ugandan movies, what happens when you instruct them, they screen them, and the halls remain empty? Okay? So you have to be very measured in what it is that you're driving, but that doesn't come when the movie is out. It starts from the beginning. Right
from the script writing,
production process, the production quality, the screening areas, as in that entire ecosystem is what UCC has been working on for the past 10 years. And once you take care of that, those are like, in strategic planning, they call them lead measures. They're lead measures that when you know that you've taken care of the script writers, that they're telling their stories in a succinct and clear way, that the language is good, that the costumes are good, that the lighting is good, that the stories are good and are worth telling, and that they're addressing specific content gaps. You can't go wrong when it comes to content building. There are all these other things that the Commission has been doing, that like countrywide drives. You know, UFF doesn't happen just with a gala. It has an annual calendar that sees it going all over the country. We screen these movies, Ugandan movies, in community areas. We do community screening.
It looks like UCC is not doing a good marketing job for the UFF.
Well, airtime has to be paid for. Airtime is very expensive, but there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that are all geared towards building the audience. But then also, when we take care of the content, of the quality aspects and specialization of the industry, not just the outputs, which are the productions and the movies or the TV programs, when we take care of aspects of people who do 3D animation, voiceovers, when we get good script writers, when we sell Uganda as a film destination, if in any movie out there, you know that, oh, they screen this movie in Moyo, or this movie starts with Eddie Kenzo's song, do you know that that alone sells the movie locally? Or now, you imagine if we did the same with our productions, in-house productions, and they have bits and pieces of input from internationally standardized areas, and some movies, once they put them on like Netflix, Girl in a Yellow Jumper, a lot of people watched it strictly because only because it was now on Netflix. Because we have content has to be sold, it has to be appealing. You can't force someone to watch something. You have to sell it and do it in such a way that people seek it out.
Andrew, this is all down to the power of storytelling. And then, because marketing helps tell a story that has already been told well.
One, yes, it goes down to the power of storytelling, but there is no proof that people have rejected the story that's available at the moment.
No, there isn't.
There are some people that have rejected it, but most of the times I tell people that the people that are rejecting Ugandan film at the moment are the same people that rejected Ugandan music at one time. And the reason I do not care about those people is they do not really know what they want.
Okay.
The people that know what they want are most of the times the people we call downtown.
Yeah.
And they even pay for what they want more. Because let's say a concert is happening at Serena, there are more chances that an employee, a colleague of mine is going to ask for a complimentary ticket
than actually buy it.
And yet if it's say a Rema concert is happening at Serena, there are more chances the person from downtown will buy their own ticket. So most of the times I do not really care about the people that are like, yeah,
is that the scourge?
The sound is not good enough and everything. We have a problem with our storytelling, but the core audience of the film industry is actually not caring about that. Those people will even come and see a film because it has Nabatans in it, and they will not even care about anything. It's just that
in other words, it's all about personalities.
At times it's about personality, at times it's about who directed it, if they kind of feel like, and it works everywhere, even in the US. That's why at times they announce the director before they announce anyone else who's going to be on the film. So personally, I feel like we failed to tap into that audience because we got confused in the whole situation of, are we going to put our films in cinema because that's where films are known to be? I had a conversation with her before we came on, and I was telling her about my very first time at a festival. Most of the times I use this conversation when I'm trying to talk about audience building and maybe why we are doing it wrongly. I think the festival has only happened in the communities once, and I believe the year it happened in the communities must have been one of the most successful years.
Which festival? UFF?
Yes, UFF. Like screening in the communities. I remember they did a market screening at Kalere, at Kamocha. Those are the ones I attended, but I don't know if they did in others.
Countrywide.
But I mean like community
yes.
to the people. I feel like those were very, very successful festivals because the Montuawansi managed to actually come and see films at the festival. At the moment, most Ugandan filmmakers and the festival itself are structuring us to a cinema, which is a good thing. Some people are supposed to go to the cinema, but then they are leaving out the core audience, which core audience actually made the music industry, which is the Montuawansi. That core audience does not feel like they are welcome at the cinema. And unfortunately, no one is thinking about them. Even when people are thinking about promoting a local film, no one is thinking of how am I going to make people that are downtown actually watch this film without walking to the cinema. Wow. Because trust me, they are not going to walk to the cinema.
That's an interesting one. Okay, let's hear you out.
So it's, I think it's important for us to know that we can't fixate on cinema or on TV production or on production straight to DVD. We have to think broadly because production actually costs a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Producing one movie is very expensive.
Yeah.
So we have to think of aspects of sustainability and making the creative industry a business case. So when you look at it like that, then you stop fixating on one specific solution and you think of the industry in a broad way. So if I'm talking about looking at the industry in a broad way, then we still have to take a few steps back and say, okay, fine, what is not working for cinema? How do we address it? What is not working for the Ugandan audience? How do we address it? But while we are hand-holding that is not working for the Ugandan audience, there are our producers who are ready for the international audience, who we are not going to hold back. So yes, I know the requirement on the Commission or Uganda Film Festival, the requirements are diverse. But it's important for us to see that there has to be a balanced or measured approach to see that much as we are pushing for the Ugandan audience, we are also encouraging our producers who are now producing for international audiences to also be able to make a production that will sell locally, but then if it wants to be aired on NTV Kenya, you don't have limitations. Or if you want it to be showcased at the Cannes or whichever, you also meet that specification. Now that balance is what then takes us back to the technical aspects. Human capacity development is a very important part of this creative industry.
Personally, I feel at the moment, one of the biggest problems actually, we have with our local film industry is the storytelling. Everything else somehow falls in line. Like everything else is not so bad.
Are we constraining the space to particular lines or stories or genres? For example, every movie that comes out
has a woman that's crying.
Stuff like that. We don't see, for example, you sit back and like, here is a movie and it's talking about a certain boy's transition from the rural area to a businessman.
It's because
those stories are not told.
It's because most filmmakers are making films for the festival. I know it's quite an indictment.
They are not making films for the audience.
Yes, they are not making films for the audience. They are making films for the festival because the festival comes with money. Yeah,
it comes with money. It's what is going to appreciate things like.
And most people are thinking, if I win a lot of awards, I don't really need to premiere.
Interesting.
I think
you disagree?
He's bringing in this conversation is moving in many directions.
But it is.
Because before we went for the break, he was talking about audience building.
Audience building.
But then now all of a sudden we're talking about glitz and glam of a festival and premiering.
Anyway,
so,
all right,
just to go back to
point and
like because anyway he brought in that the kind of films that people are making.
That's right.
But anyway, just to get back to one of the reasons I keep saying why we need the cinema so much, because it's a model that, not the cinema, but a model that works with the cinema, where people come together and see a film, because it's an actual model that works. At the moment, we know how Netflix is actually struggling. And that's the reason why they are thinking of introducing adverts in the film as you're watching. They can have an ad, because the whole thing of people just paying subscription and then someone shares their account doesn't seem to be working. So that's why I'm usually caged when people are like, there are all these other audiences where you can, the amount of money TVs are going to give you for your film, most of the times will not be able to make a film, which means the investment you made will not come back. The only way you can actually make actual business on a film is by people collectively coming and each and every one of them paying.
Being able to pay.
So that's why most of the times I'm thinking we should find a way, even if we are to go back to communities and everyone is paying their 1K to watch this Ugandan film, like that collective way is the only known model where a film actually makes money. Okay,
let Rebecca bring us up to speed with what was unveiled on the 27th of July by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, the 5-year development plan for the film industry running from 2022 to 2027. And well, it's not staggering as an amount of money, 3 billion Uganda shillings to help on issues that are aimed at making the film industry good enough to begin producing the kind of content that we perhaps could appreciate a little bit more. Are you in on that?
That is under the Ministry of Gender.
The UCC should be collaborating.
Yes, of course. Of course, everything about the creative industry is hinged on collaboration. And yes, it takes this conversation back to what I was mentioning, that even before that movie comes out, there are things that have to happen behind the scenes to know that we are addressing a specific issue. We have to be intentional. When you say that we have challenges with audience building, then it's important for you to step back and say, what exactly is it that we're not getting? Or what audience are we targeting? Of this audience, how many of them can afford to go to the cinema? How many of them, as in, when you look at the population of Uganda, what is the age bracket? How many of them, what percentages are employable? What kind of content appeals to them? What kind of content must be put in front of their faces even when it doesn't appeal to them? You get, because some content will be there even when it doesn't appeal to you. I remember we all grew up watching Consequences. Whether we really liked the movie so much or not, they always aired it when we were going back to school because there was a message to be told.
Yeah.
Now, this conversation can't fixate on specific outcomes or cinema or what, because creatives influence and mirror the community so much. We have to handhold it and pan it in a certain direction to tell some complicated stories in a way that will either be appealing or where we shall force it in front of our people's faces.
Okay, we are entering the final bend of the discussion. You speak of hand-holding. The industry itself is a source of employment. So many people. I don't know how you are monitoring this to ensure that the pitfalls that we hear about in many sectors, including exploitation of many of the young talent and the creatives therein, is avoided. How are we on this front?
So I'll still go back to the human capital development aspect. And it's happening at all levels. We have countrywide workshops which are calling young people to pitch to them the potential and opportunities in the creative industries. And then we have that entry point level countrywide of workshops and forums that are created where we call young people not just to show them what they can do, but also see how it can help address some of the societal issues that they're facing. There's middle level human capital development where we are now looking at quality aspects of content production, and those have also been addressed in different forums, workshops. We've brought mentors, international mentors from Africa and what, to tell our producers, how do you tell your story? How do you sell your story to a buyer? How do you protect your copyright? How do you, as in, this human capital development is one of the strongest pillars for the creative industry, because at the end of this process, we're not just looking at the movies or the productions, we're looking at an entire economy of creatives that is everyone is thriving, at different levels of the creative industry. So.
Andrew, in 30 seconds, wrap this up. What is the future?
The future, I think, the future is bright. People are more ambitious when it comes to the kind of films they are making. At the moment, we need a lot of collaborations because film is a collaborational thing. I keep telling my filmmaker friends they should stop looking at their films as Ugandan films, but mostly as African films. Because trust me, if I woke up and I wanted to make a film and the DOP I wanted is in Nairobi, I'll go to Nairobi. If the director I want is in Nigeria, I'll go to Nigeria. I wouldn't really care a lot that I'm supposed to hire Ugandan. At the end of the day, I must be making a good film. Like, do we know where all the Hollywood actors come from in the films we watch? At the end of the day, you watch a film and the actor is from Austria, the other one is from Norway, the other one. So we need to collaborate a lot, and that is the only way, one, we can tap into other audiences. Two, is the only way we can bring out some of the best work, and that's the only way probably we can stay in the cinema longer in other countries.
All right, Andrew Kagwa, seasoned arts journalist, many thanks for the insight and perspective, and many thanks to you too, Rebecca Mukte, spokesperson of the Uganda Communications Commission, for that overview on how best we can move forward with regard to improving the film industry and, of course, harnessing all the dividends that can come out of it. That will do it for the Take Note discussion. I hope you have taken note, especially if you are a creative and, well, doing things that ought to ensure that Uganda's entertainment spaces are improved. It's been a pleasure having your company on Morning at NTV this Friday. It's of course the wrap to a week. We do believe that whatever you'll be up to during the weekend, be cautious as you go about it, because at the end of the day we shall be here on Monday and we want you to be part of us. We hope the good Lord will ensure that is exactly how we want it. On behalf of the entire team that is behind the scenes ensuring that things move as they ought to, many thanks. I'm Chris Higenyi. That's it. Have a lovely Friday.